How are we all doing? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Uh, how is the Spotify audio doing? Sounds like it's quite quiet on this side. Huh. Sounds like it's very quiet on your side. Hi, hi! How's it going? Uh, let's see. I am. I'm switching between multiple monitors, so forgive me if I'm a little quiet to start with. No, why am I unstable on Twitch? That's tragic. Uh, huh. Okay. Let's. You should not be unstable. I'm a little worried about that. Yay, everyone can hear me. But now the real question is, can you hear the Spotify? Because it does not sound it. Uh, cancel. Okay, well now the music's fading out, so I know, you cannot hear the spot of the fire. That is very curious. I haven't changed anything since I last went live, so I don't know. Okay, no, that's just gonna blast your ears when it does turn on. Ah, okay. There we go. Oh, that's loud. I knew that was gonna happen. I'm so sorry. uh, okay. Why is it so loud? Can you, is that okay here? It is literally at 2%. It really shouldn't be that loud. Oh, no music. But now music. Yes? That's so weird. Why is it so loud at 2%? I literally haven't changed. I haven't touched a thing. All I did was update OBS. So we can probably blame it on that. Okay, I'm glad it's not too loud for you. As long as you can hear it and it's not too loud, we've reached a happy medium. Anyways, hello everyone. How are we all doing? Have... Ah, we do not have a live announcement courtesy of Talbot, which is fine. That is something I shall notify Meandry of. What do you guys think of the new Talbot? Awesome. I'm glad it's not too loud. Okay. There's music? Oh no, that's not what you want to hear. It did just start a new song, so maybe it'll get louder. Otherwise, I can put it up to, God forbid, 3%, you know? Let's see if this doesn't blow out your headphones. Ah, yes. The clown started the divorce and now the sentence is jazz. Thank you for letting me know. I know all of those words in that order. Huh. Okay, so Talbot's supposed to put down a announcement when I do go live, on YouTube at least. So that's a bit sad that she didn't make an announcement, but she did think that the 30-minute like notification that everyone gets before the stream starts was the stream being scheduled. So that's also something fun. It's a little janky, but so much work went into it, and I'm so impressed with everything that it is currently. So I am not complaining in the slightest. I think it's so cool. My favorite parts are the status updates. Um, mm, mm, mm. Yeah, all hail Talabot 2.0. She's doing that to sabotage me. I sure hope she's not. So let's get us a little bit of a calmer background. You know, blood red. You know, that's well, it's not quite blood red. It is depending on which monitor I look at it on. Let's. Okay, we're doing cryptids, so maybe something a little bit reddish would look quite nice. We can play a little bit with silhouettes. On the Discord, so on the Patreon Discord, we have launched Talabot 2.0, which was the sort of moderation bot that we had going. She didn't do much to start off with, but she was very fun, and we liked her very much. And she made nice announcements whenever people joined. And now she's a lot chattier. And has custom statuses and a bunch of other cool stuff that I don't want to spoil. But it was really fun working on it. Meandrew did all of the work. I wrote some of the dialogue. So we're getting, yeah. So that's gonna be a surprise moving forwards. Sorry about the YouTube even when he was watching the Astro movies. Oh no, actually. How many years has it been since I watched Astro? I think I went all the way through up until like number 8, number 11, if they did even get that high. And then I stopped. I should go back and watch them. Nostalgia. You will spoil eventually. It is as such. Thanks. I enjoy your confidence in me specifically. Okay. Twitch is still unstable, so let me just go through and see what it is I could be fixing. I can't lower the kilobytes per second even more, can I? It's already at like the minimum of what Twitch recommends. But that is what fixed it last time. Okay, let's see if this doesn't break the stream. Okay, we all still here? No one died? Okay. 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 Nope, still unstable. Great, fantastic. Yes, inspector.twitch. Save me, inspector.twitch. It just killed me. I'm sorry for your loss. Is that Jerry on my head? Yes, it is. Because he is currently outside. And I couldn't tell if you guys could pick it up or not. So he is on my head now. I can't believe you've done that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've been, thank you for wishing almost 25,000 subscribers. It's a big number. I've been watching it slowly sort of tick up over the course of the year. It's been really interesting and very, very cool, very weird. I still sometimes, like, if I think about it for too long, I go, oh god, that's a lot of people. It's weird. It's a matter of comparisons, because if you think about it, just like on the grand scheme of YouTube as a platform, 25k is not a ton. But for me as a human being, 25k is like a ton. That is so many people. I don't know, try to fit that many in a room. A small nation? Don't small cities have like 9 million people? You're right, guys, we should all just own an island. Not that one. Whoa. Gregory, I didn't realize you've been here for since the very beginning. Wow. That's really cool. A small city 9 isn't my city 9? Hang on. Ah, not 9 million, 3.9 million. That's where I got the number. Yeah, that's a... Oh, that's 250,000. No, isn't it? No, that's 250,000. Okay, cool. I'm not... That scared me. 500k was somewhat big for a city. I don't know. I'm just basing it off of like my city. That's 3.9 million. So it's like big. Boy, are you that big? My perception of numbers is a little off, guys. Wow. But thanks very much. Yeah, it's a very cool number. Very cool milestone. I'd love to do something special for it, but we'll have to see if I've got the time before it happens. Ooh, test, test. Hi, Rila, I can see you. Is there an issue? It's still saying... What is 2 million? A small town? The immortal community is literally a city-state, yeah. I believe you. Ooh. I wasn't on the last stream, so sorry if someone already asked you this before, but have you seen Knights of Guinevere from Glitch? I have, and I didn't get to talk about it last week because we were doing it with Musume, and I had my hands full. So yeah, no, I absolutely, absolutely love it. Oh my god, it's so good. Oh, it's incredible. The things I have, like, thought, like... The problem is that it's really good, and so many people have picked, like, every single second of it apart. And I just love it so much. It's so fun. I can't wait to see more of it. Every single thing that Glitch puts out just feels like just absolute peak. Well, yeah, no, absolute peak. I'm sticking with that. Golshi sweep. Yes. Oh, I didn't. I was gonna. I haven't done the post-game stuff yet. I haven't recorded it yet. I will see about doing that this weekend. I am a little busy, and I forgot, and I am very sorry. But yeah, no. Data Terrace is so cool. I watched the pilot episode of Knights of Guinevere, and then I started watching The Owl House just because of the pilot. And it's so good. I mean, yeah. Knights of Guinevere pilot, Dana Terrace, I am now discovering is, like, I love her work. God, it really is just, it's fun. It's fun. It's so good. I love that it is like almost revenge, but there's passion. There's like a real core there of love. It dissects the like Disney adult sort of concept and dives into it, and then it also talks about you know, capitalism bad, which is of course a winning theme for everything I do. Everything I consume. Yeah. I don't know, the last 2 weeks I've sort of been a little bit like not on my best game, I guess. Like I've been getting all my work done, but like just my work done. I've not been doing like anything on top of that. I've just been a little bit tired. I don't know. I'm taking a bit of a break at the end of October though, so if I just keep trucking along until then, I will get a nice clean reset and then I shall be back in full form. I am 108% sure of it. I am a little sleep deprived. Yeah, actually, that probably is a bit of a factor in it. Oh, thanks, game. Yeah, and I'm a little late to the party to watch Owl House. I do know that. It did end a while ago. But it's so good. I had no idea. I actually didn't Google it, so I could be wrong. But isn't King voiced by Alex Hirsch? Which was a very fun thing to find out. Well, to sort of hear. in the pilot episode, and then just a joy to listen to. Maybe it's the change in seasons, but like here it's spring, so you know it should be doing the opposite. I should be getting like more hyped. It has been raining a lot though. Maybe that's it. Guys, don't worry. I promise I'm resting. I'm fine. I'm looking after myself. I'm doing all the self-care things I need to do. Please don't worry about me. I'm alright. No, burnout is not confirmed. I'm fine. Yeah, I should probably try sleeping though. That does sound right. Whoa, good on you. Yeah, I was gonna do Inktober, and then the first came around yesterday, and I forgot about it until like 11:30 at night, and I was like, well, okay, well, there we go. Sick! Okay, Alex Hirsch did voice King and Hootie. I am so glad that you get to tell me this, and I did not bother to Google it for like the 2 seconds it would have taken me. Thank you for letting me know. The chat is very delayed on stream. Yeah, it's because it's still unstable on Twitch, and I don't know how to fix it. Oh, well, that will explain it. Okay, so the bitrate is half of what it should be. I do not have the technical know-how to fix this. I'm a little worried. I'm very scared. Maybe if I refresh it. That's not gonna do anything, is it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Cool, well I just needed to refresh the page. That makes no sense. I guess I am on the stream manager, but... No, I'm not waking me, Andrew. That's so dumb. I'm angry that worked. Okay, sick. Okay, so it looks like the stream, so the chat's up to speed, right, Total Master? And Relo. Oof, 5 minutes and 40 seconds is not great. Yeah, okay. Okay. We'll see if that's up to speed now, and if not, we will go back to the troubleshooting, which I am so good at it. Ah, I see. Okay, it looks like it's up to speed now. At least it's popping, the chat's popping up on the stream manager for Twitch at the same time that it is on the extension that I have. Okay. Bye, Total Master. Thank you for coming. Even if you didn't get to see much. Just chatting and not doing my job. Speaking of not doing our jobs, Ooh, could I do a South African monster or cryptid? Well, good for you. I just learned quite a bit about South African cryptids. It's pretty interesting. Actually, yeah, Texamantium, the one you posted on the Discord, I've never seen before in my life. In my defense, I haven't heard very many cryptids in my time here, I guess. It's for some reason it's just not something that I kind of got like caught up on, at least not local ones. So I don't know about the South African Bigfoot, but there are a lot of like cryptids here. Some of them are pretty significant to you know, the different local cultures, you know, Zulu specifically, since that's the area that I'm living in. Some of them, it kind of is Wendigo rules, where it's like maybe not the best idea to depict them or draw them if you are not directly from the culture. But I can tell you, we have some modern cryptids, and they are very dumb. So it is a horror story. It's like it's a campfire story, so I don't know. Have I ever heard of the Grootslung? Grootslung. No, it might go under a different name. Kind of, not really. Yeah, Afrikaans and Dutch for big snake. Thank you very much, Wikipedia. Richtersveld. Where is Richtersveld? Oh, well, it's in the northwest. It's the opposite part of the country. No, I haven't. Oh, have fun with your art, Reela. An Afrikaans scripted. Yeah, that does sound about right with the name. Let's see. A chimeric thinger. Mayhap. Jerry is a cryptid? Yeah, sure. Why not? We can add that to the lore. Ooh, which one I could depict in a game though? Well, that's again the thing where a lot of the local cryptids, for example, kind of the only one that comes to mind for me, because that is the one that I did grow up hearing about, is the Tokolot. But it's the exact same, not exact same, but very similar rules to the Wendigo and the problem is you're not supposed to say the names of these things is what you're not supposed to do, and I'm doing it. But yeah, so it's the rules where you don't say the name because it might get their attention. You don't want to. They're these like little imp guys that I'm not entirely sure what they do, but the idea is that they are the servants of witch doctors, and if you say their name, you might invoke their presence or the ire of the witch doctor. I'm not entirely sure which one it is. And then it's not a fun time. So like, unfortunately, a lot of South African cryptids kind of fall into that bracket where it's like, you can like talk about it, learn about it, it's a fun time, but at the same time, don't like depict it or draw it unless you are very, very, very familiar or a part of the culture and the history and can talk to people with direct experience from it. So yeah, I don't know. Some people depict some sort of elephantine dragon thingy. Yeah, that's the thing. It's when you get to like a lot of Western cryptids and mythological creatures and stuff like that, it's kind of like free real estate. It's you can kind of do whatever you like because the people who are in the West are so typically like far removed from the original roots of those creatures that it's fun. It's it gets the Christianity treatment where it's like okay to depict it in films and cinema and make integrations and give it your own creative slant. But yeah. My favorite cryptid is the Mexican gnome. Do I want to Google the Mexican gnome? I love him. He's great. I am not getting a single thing on the cryptid. I'm just kidding. I'm just getting Amazon.com Mexican gnome statues. Is many people here? Yeah. I know, isn't that cool? The duende. I'm also not supposed to say their name. I don't know anymore. Where's the line between cryptid and like just a legend? I have absolutely no clue. That is a very good question. I think cryptid is more of a modern term, isn't it? Whereas I believe legend is to define something that is no longer actively believed in, or maybe no. That can't be right. Okay. Oxford defines cryptid is an animal whose existence or survival is disputed or unsubstantiated, such as the Yeti or Bigfoot, which I suppose makes sense. So Mothman, right? If you vanish, we'll know what happened. Yeah, I've said too many names. favorite cryptid, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. No, no, that's not what I say. But like if you take something like a show, what was that show that was on Netflix? It wasn't called The Devil in Me. It was it was like a rom-com. Satan comes up to Earth. It was a murder mystery detective show. Lucifer. Okay, it was literally just called Lucifer. But like something like that can't really exist if it is taboo to show specifically like Satan or different angels, or and I understand that there are certain corners of or like sects of Christianity that do still operate that way, but in general I feel like the approach towards most like pop culture Christianity is treated in that way, and it's very interesting. I'm kind of fascinated by like what the difference is between that and representing you know, more local creatures. And I do, to an extent, I understand the difference. I understand it's different because they are you know, not of the people making it, and so they cannot capture the nuance, they cannot capture the understanding, and if people still actively believe in it, then of course that makes it a no-no. But it's interesting. I'm fascinated by it, even if I can't explain it super well. Whoa. There's some merit to Mexican gnomes, but I can't find the videos anymore. They're like as old as YouTube. Oh, it's not that old. Wouldn't dragons technically be cryptids? I guess, depending. Do people still currently debate their existence? Probably. It's a big world. Would Slender Man count as a cryptid? Oh, 100%. Maybe. It's more of like I mean, it's an internet creepypasta, so it's like, maybe... Huh. That's a good question. Exactly, it's based... Yeah, so Lucifer, the series, is based off the DC comics. And again, that's another thing where it's like, what it was depicted in a series of comic books. That's also like it's the same concept of like, well, we've turned these characters from a literal religious text into characters for a comic and then later a TV show. Like it's an interesting thing. It's like, why is that okay and perceived as fine by like even people who are within the religion? Or maybe it's not. Maybe there's like there was a huge boycott when it came out and I just didn't hear about it. But it was really popular, wasn't it? It was like one of Netflix's like flagship shows at one point. More of a created character. Okay, okay. An original horror character that within his own law is an urban legend. Ah, I see, I see. Yeah. The term cryptid is vague, but I am vaguer, which is very unfortunate. Slenderman is like Jason or Freddy Krueger. Yeah, I suppose you're right. 100%. It's interesting because it's you talk about like Jason or Freddy Krueger. Didn't they represent actual fears that were, you know, sort of touched on? It touched on common fears that people had about their everyday lives, and played into them as extensions of the concept. So with that logic, Slenderman would probably have been an extension of like, you know, the fear of like stranger danger, online, you know, strangers and like creepy guys. Isn't it that grainy video? They're just like lizards, like Komodo dragons, yeah. And I mean, wasn't a big thing back in the day was people were finding dinosaur bones and calling them dragon bones. I think it was dragons and giants. I think those were the two. Ooh, that's really cool, actually. Hang on, I remember this. At one point, because bear skeletons look very similar to human skeletons, apparently Vikings used to bury bear skeletons that they would find, you know, sort of stripped of, you know, that had been sitting out long enough to just be the bones, because they thought they were giant skeletons, which is really cool, like these really great warriors, which is very interesting. I wonder if there were any myths that spawned off of that. Probably. The problem with cryptozoology is that people apply the cryptid label to creatures that it doesn't really apply, and then try to reduce cool, fantastical creatures to more boring things like dinosaurs. Fair enough. And then try to reduce cool, fantastical creatures to more boring things like... yeah. I don't know. I don't know enough to dispute anything. Dinosaurs aren't boring, you're right. I mean, isn't cryptozoology the practice of trying to prove that they're real instead of disproving that they are? Mayhaps I am uneducated. Whoa. Good luck at work, Texmantium. Thank you very much. I feel terrible about last week. That was... You did put far, far, far too much into it. Thank you very, very much, though. Bye, Texmantium. Okay. Well, now that we've spent half an hour talking about the cryptids... So, we're gonna be sort of working with a lot of concepts here, right? So, I have some ideas of what I want, specifically the group that Tala lives with, at the point where the comic starts, right? So we're dealing with timeline now. They're gonna have a series of creatures, monsters, myths. Some of them are going to be a little bit generic. Some of them are going to be like very out there. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see how my imagination fares over the course of the video. But ultimately, it's going to be for this current present day. This is the part that I have the most fleshing out of the world in general, so I can, you know, apply it to a couple more things. But at the same time, I don't know how long these cryptids are going to last through spoken history. So, they are technically maybe almost canon, but they will not be talked about in the official comic. They won't really be shown. That's because I've already written what... I have an idea of what I want the first arc to look like, and I have an idea of what I want this point in history to look like, and so we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be having fun with it. There's a little bit of like a lax sort of approach to it, but ultimately you're probably not going to see this in the official work, which sucks a little bit, but it is because I can't really fit them in anyway. Hi Horace. Oh no. Okay. Start drawing, Tumblr. I've been told, I've been threatened. I shall obey. The squonk? Don't make me Google the squonk. I don't want to do the squonk. So let's start off with a fairly simple one, right? So we have our nomads, who of course travel quite a lot. I'm sure over the course of their history, they have had some losses. They've had some people maybe wandering off, never to return. You've had people snatched up in the night, whether by wild animals or other people. I'm sure they have had quite a couple of those occasions, again, in their history, and they would have been very tragic and they would have been very difficult. And from them, as from every, well, not every tragedy, but some tragedies, would have come something like an urban legend. And this is a little bit like from with the thumbnail. So, little guy, probably a child, quite young, who for one reason or another got lost. And that's the fun thing with myths and folktales and stories and cryptids, is that it tends to shift and change depending on the perspectives of the group, and it varies from, you know, town to town, or in this case from band to band, as they move, as they travel, as they meet and share their stories, and then those stories change slowly over time. So you could have like 100 different variations of the story. So the story could go, oh well, he was kidnapped away by a evil sorcerer, or he was taken by the animals to live with them, or something something something, or taken by the night itself, whisked him away into the shadows, never to return. But the ultimate idea is that this smaller child is taken. Why am I... I see. I switched pens without looking. Is our music okay? Yes, it is. Okay. Got quiet all of a sudden. But the child becomes something like... here it's a little bit fuzzy, because I've depicted the child with the ceremonial spear, which is only given to the leaders of each band. So there could be a couple different reasons for them having it. So the most obvious one is that they are a leader of some group. So it could be that they were in fact taken as an adult and aren't a child at all, and were the leader of the group and then disappeared one night, or sacrificed themselves in order to keep the group from getting hunted by something. An urban legend in the Paleolithic, wouldn't that just be a legend? Yeah. But for them, it would have been an urban legend. You must understand. Sorry. I took a sip of my tea. Chris Deltarune, yeah, sure. I can't use Chris Deltarune in the comic. I know. There you go. Slightly different hair. And now it's like it wasn't even originally Chris. No cities, no urban. I know, I'm using the term very loosely, okay? So we've got our character. They could be young, they could be quite old, maybe as the legend, because that's the fun thing. Again, you can just make stuff up and then play around with all the different concepts, and then because of the way legends go, you can just keep all of them and then just have different variations depending on who you're talking to. And that is the most fun part that I have with making cryptids and monsters and creatures and myths. Again, so could have been an adult who was already a leader of their group, or they were a child who then later on became the leader, maybe through the sacrifice they were able to become the leader, or maybe they've been wandering the woods ever since and now it's they're the ruler of it, but like not really, because that kind of goes against their actual beliefs of who like owns the wild. So that's let's stick with maybe the first one. But it's cool. It's very interesting. And there can be some conflict between different concepts. Again, like I said, with like, oh, who owns the wild and this is the ruler, but not really. There can be some conflict there. Because people are full of conflict. Probably. Yeah, it's again, I like to play with the vagueness of people's beliefs, just because it's easier to flesh it out in sections and let people fill in the gaps, instead of painting a very, very obvious, very clear, very structured picture that people then have to absorb. And I understand a lot of people write that way. It's where you get like a lot of soft world building concepts. So I like to have quite rigid world building and then have very sort of soft. I know that's not the right word, but I don't want to say I don't want to say it. But yeah, and then have very sort of soft approaches to the individual workings of the different groups, unless it is extremely important to the plot. Unless like it would not function without that concept being explained. It's a bit of a personal preference, so that's why you'll see I'll be painting in very broad strokes as we talk about these. I won't have the answers for everything, so I hope that's alright and doesn't frustrate you too much. Chris Deltarune. Oh no, people are still calling him Chris Deltarune. Okay. That doesn't work. What can I do? What can I change? This is so unfair. I haven't even played Deltarune all the way. I mean, I'm not caught up with Deltarune. Maybe I should play that on stream, but that feels like it would take much longer than the 3 hours I have allotted to play a single game. Yeah, I really don't want to say it. Nice! My world building project is literally just called Cryptids and Chimeras right now. That's so sick. Yeah, my favorite part of any like world building is like the myth and the creatures and the beings. This isn't going to be okay, so this is technically in the world of Immortal, but it's not going to be for this modern day. I came up with a concept ages ago of people getting lost in the woods, and then because their culture at the time wear these wooden sandals, the longer they're lost, the more their sandals start to grow back into the trees that they used to be, because they've returned to the wild. And then as they grow and the people keep walking, eventually you have these wandering husks of what used to be people who are just being walked around by their shoes, no longer sort of like capable of like independent thought, or they're no longer human. It's all very creepy. That is not even close to a head. I was trying not to draw Chris Deltarune again. That's what happened. And then they're just these ghosts. And so when you're wandering in the woods and you see a tree that looks like it moves, as people often tend to do in the woods, they think something moves in the peripherals of their vision. And then, you know, they turn their head and they see nothing there and it's just trees. The idea is that if you do that, you need to like leave the area or be wary, because it probably means there's one of these guys nearby. And what you think is a tree, if you looked a little bit up, you would see the husk that's walking around on them, which you absolutely shouldn't do, because then they'll catch you. They'll get you. And I had a ton of fun with that concept. And God, when did I come up with it? Ages and ages and ages ago. When I was first playing around with Immortal and like figuring out how I wanted the timeline to sort of look. So I had a lot of fun with that. Yeah, Halloween. Woodstalkers, yeah. Please don't eat me, trees. The trees do not hear. The trees do not care. The trees shall eat you anyway, because the trees do not care. Sorry, I realized I forgot to draw the guy. There they are. Let's see, where were we? Okay. Let me pull up. Aha, okay, I found it. Oh, I also drew them with a little wreath of leaves and flowers and stuff around their head. There you go. That's kind of different. Wouldn't writing the names be pretty much the same as saying them? Are we talking about... Huh. I don't know. Okay. The other thing is the concept of fireflies. I love the concept of fireflies. And they do occur naturally in temperate European biomes. is what I looked up and believe I remember. Let me look it up again very briefly in case I'm dumb. It's more likely than you'd think. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. Temperate Europe. Which means our nomads would come across fireflies. And of course, they probably would know they are bugs. But what if some of them were not? And they were just a bunch of little guys. And can you tell I'm just doing the thumbnail stuff? Yeah, it's very similar to your concept of, your concept specifically. It's very similar to the concept of will-o'-the-wisps. A lot of different cultures independently develop the idea of, glowing little guys that lead you places. And this comes from, actually, I don't know. It might be something like a psychopomp, but I actually haven't looked into it, so I'm not gonna speculate like I literally just did. So yeah, just a bunch of little guys. They float around. They are probably pretty mischievous, if I had to guess. Maybe they hover over water and they make you think it's land, because they'll dance on top of it. But then when you try and follow them, you land in the river. And they're fairly harmless, but they're still quite, if you see them, you should be a little bit wary. And again, these are all kind of just stuff that is a little bit universal. Actually, hang on. I have a thing here for this. Have you heard of Stith Thompson's Motive Index of Folklore Literature? How often storm gods fight against snakes or dragons? That's really cool. It's because a lot of snakes tend to be gods of rivers, water, and sky. I have no idea why. But they're extremely common, very, very prolific across so many different cultures. You see them in Aboriginal mythos, you see them in African mythos, very common. You see them in South American, North American. Yeah, no, pretty much everywhere that there's snakes, you see some sort of myth about snakes. Right, so Stith Thompson's Motive Index of Folk Literature is a very big PDF that the one I have here is a very big PDF from archive.org. That is basically a classification of all the different narrative elements in folktales, ballads, myths, fables, medieval romances. I actually heard about it from one of OSP's videos where they talk about specifically this index, and I went and looked it up, and it is the best thing that's ever existed. So yeah, they talk about like mythological motifs, animal motifs, magic, the dead, marvels, ogres, the wise and the foolish, reversals of fortune, stories where they tell the future, chance and fate. Yeah, just tons and tons and tons and tons and tons, and it goes from A through to Z, and it's just so many. There's so many. It is very, very cool. Yeah, OSP is very much my go. Maybe they shouldn't be, but they are kind of my go-to source for this sort of stuff. Just because the way they talk about so much of like myths and history, it makes me so excited for it. And so it's just really nice to go back to them every time I need like a little bit of like a pick-me-up. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not really feeling it, but then I go watch that stuff and it's like, oh my god, history is amazing. I love myth. The best thing since cheese. I totally agree. That's not what she said, I know. So, let's see. I'm not yawning, you're yawning. Oh, I've scrolled too far. Yeah, no, this, hang on, how many pages is this actually? It is ridiculously long. It is 2,497 pages long. Actually, let me... Can I put the link in the description? I think I will do that. I think everyone needs to know the joy of this. This Thompson. Okay, I think that should be safe. Yes? Stith Thompson's Index of Folklore. Save. Okay. So I will probably be scrolling through this a little bit just for ideas and inspiration. Just for like universal things as well. Oh, I'm very glad I'm not the only one, yeah. Yeah, very, very good. Doesn't know who Agamemnon is. I know who Agamemnon is. I'm not good at memory. Lord of Men. Okay, right. So, in line with that, a very common belief as well across multiple cultures is the idea that to create an image of your own face is to capture your soul. This is often seen with photographs, especially with cultures that haven't had a lot of exposure to modern technology, but also with painting, with taking any sort of depiction of their face is seen as sort of, yeah, capturing their soul, capturing their likeness, taking a part of themselves away. And I guess that's kind of why we don't know. I'm speculating. Which is why taking, which I believe I did in a different stream, is I talked about these story masks that were made out of bark that would have these different character archetype faces that would be drawn, and they would be, you know, you'd have the hunter god, the wild god, you'd have the main character of a story that was being told. But one huge taboo is to draw the face of someone you know on them. Which is why we have something like the Face Stealer from Avatar, where it's a creature that has stolen the likenesses of other people. Not very well. This is, of course, still a Paleolithic society, so it would be quite stylized. This is not final product. I'll probably play around with the actual look of it. But the idea is that they steal the faces of people who've come before you, and if you're not careful and you give them enough time to look at your face, they will be able to capture your likeness on their own piece of bark, and then they'll have it forever. And then a piece of yourself will be taken, or your soul, or maybe just your entire self. Again, I don't know. Something bad will happen. It's not going to be good. It's taking your face. There we go. Let's see what else we can look at. I wonder if there's something we can do with snakes specifically. I'm not entirely sure. Because snakes are not always negative creatures as well. They take a huge range of things. Steph Thompson, help me. Let's go animal motifs. Beast, birds, men, fish beasts. Oh, wow. Reminds me of the story I heard where someone's kid freaked out because he crossed out his name and was like, do I still exist? I hope that's a real story. That sounds amazing. Anyway, I should probably finish drawing this guy before I move on to anything else. whatever's behind the mask is definitely not human. Yeah, I think that is pretty accurate for a face stealer to have a lot of faces. Because it's one of the things I've been finding very difficult is getting into the headspace of a Paleolithic society, specifically because their world is a lot more of a unknown one than ours. Like, you can't look at the sky, you look at the sun, and you go, well, that's the sun. I know that it's a ball of gas. It's in the solar system. It looks like this because that's that's the makeup of it. We perceive it as yellow because of such and such and such. You can't do that. And so your world is a lot more mysterious and ruled by what you believe and the legends that you have. And that's interesting, but it's also something I'm terrified I'm going to just overlook something incredibly obvious or create conflicting perspectives because I'm going to be looking in this sort of like headspace. So for like, all these different characters throughout all this different time, throughout, so many changes throughout time. So it's going to be very interesting as a thought experiment. And I do think if I can do it right, it'll be the most fun part of the process. But it is very intimidating. Because that is also something that I find very, like, kind of the hardest part of it is getting a real, like, personalized character. A character with, like, actual personhood and an interior life. Like, that is obviously one of the more difficult parts of writing. It's why so many, even, like, huge blockbuster movies and stuff, like, can't really capture that sometimes. And I don't want to believe it's purely because of, like, laziness. I do think it is because it is a more difficult thing to achieve. But it is something that I wouldn't say I struggle with it, but it's something that I've been taking my time to sort of understand so I can do it justice, if that makes sense. And maybe struggle a little bit with it too. Sort of makes sense that early humans would have the beliefs and maturity of children today because nothing more advanced had been dreamt up. But that's the thing, you can't really depict them all as children because that's very infantilizing. And it also kind of depicts this idea that people who were of a primitive, technological society were, by extension, more primitive in their thinking, which has been proven to not be the case across cultures. And it also, it implies a couple, like, kind of worrying things about the mentalities of the people from the Paleolithic, because it kind of also harkens back to, like, that caveman concept where it's like unga bunga, hit woman with stick, midwife. Like, it's I'm kind of trying to not do that as best as I possibly can and present them as at least somewhat emotionally intelligent, very rich culturally rich people, without falling into the trap of, like, depicting them as mentally children. I feel like that would definitely be the wrong call. Sorry, not to call you out and go, no, but that's sort of that's the approach that I'm sort of taking to that exact concept. It's something I've been thinking about a lot, and it's something that I definitely almost fell into in the very beginning as well. So I understand maybe I understand thinking that way, if that makes any sense. Let's see. I walked through a dense forest at night once, so I'm basically a pro of the Paleolithic mindset. Thank God you're here. I need your help. Being immortal must be kind of tiring after a while. I agree wholeheartedly. Who wants to live forever? Truly. Actually, I disagree. This is the final product. That is exactly what the faces look like. I have decreed it, and so it shall be. Just because the language for a concept doesn't exist doesn't mean the idea for something can't exist. You're not wrong. That's also a very interesting thing. if the language for a concept doesn't exist, doesn't mean the idea of something doesn't exist. Because I think we see that a little bit in the way color has been sort of written about over time. Something about this I don't know too well, so please correct me if I get something wrong. And take what I do say with a grain of salt. Yeah, I think it's the idea that we didn't have the words to describe the range of colors that existed, but they still existed. We just didn't have the language for it, and that limited our way of thinking and perceiving color. Does anybody else hear a cricket? Yeah, that's Jerry. Yeah. Oh. Oh, hi, Bookworm. Thank you for joining the stream as well. It does seem a lot of people work when I stream, so maybe I should think about changing my times a little bit. It is unfortunate, but time zone wise, I think when you guys are, or at least when folks in America are kicking kicking off the day, it is the end of the workday for me, and then I think no, because then when you guys are finishing work, I am asleep because it will be 3 a.m. for me. Yeah, Jerry is the official cryptid of this channel. Yeah, again, stuff still existed before we knew about it, obviously, but it's the fact that we didn't know about it and how that shapes our approach to the world. And that's the difficult part to get right when talking about it, when writing it. Yeah. All hail Jerry, yes, yes. That makes sense. I am very sorry that you live in the US of A. Purely because the time zones do not work out. Have you considered moving to my time zone? Oh, nice. Oh, I'm glad some of you enjoy yourselves. Yeah. If I was a real streamer, a professional streamer, I would probably do 2 of these a week, and I would have them at different times so that the people who can't make number 1 can make number 2. No, I am not gonna think through the sentence I just said. But alas, I am not. Oh, thank you, Bookworm. Have I done anything related to conlanging? Not really. I don't know that much about... Okay, well, I've been saying that for such a long time. I feel like I know more than I did when I started saying that I didn't know anything about conlanging. Like, I understand the concept of it. I've just never really delved into it properly and gotten, like, my hands dirty with it. Tallman, who... Have they left? I can't remember if they're still here. I'm so sorry. I hope... yeah, there they are. I can see the comment. But yeah, they actually made the core conlang to start Immortal off with, which was very, very cool of them. And I will give them all of the credit for it. It is very sick. And yeah, all of the language, all of the whole conlang and everything included in it, and then also the creation of the naming system and everything. It's very, very cool. So I will give them all of that. I have not done much relating to conlanging, is what I'm trying to say. This would make 2 people I know who told me I should come to South Africa. Amazing. Maybe you should do it. Huh? Have you thought about it? Have you considered it? Maybe it's the universe telling you to come to South Africa. Don't do it. It's nice for a visit, but not to live. Jerry's cousins are in my backyard. Haha! They're spreading. I recommend doing a little at least because it's such a great world building tool on its own right. Yeah, I agree. 100%. Have you taken any inspiration from your home country in terms of culture, geography, etc. in your world building? Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. I tend to use the Khoisan people who are native to South Africa. That makes them sound like an exotic animal. I'm very sorry. But yeah, the Khoisan people who've been here for most of human history are kind of my go-to when looking up specifically the lifestyle habits of hunter-gatherers, nomadic people specifically. And it's been very helpful, very interesting, because even though the biome is very different, learning about the habits, the movements, the specifically hunting as well is an extremely valuable thing, especially since traditionally they hunt a lot of megafauna in terms of, African wildlife. Yeah, South Africa does have penguins. Fan meetup in a random grocery store. If you can find me, you're welcome to it. There's penguins in Immortal. No, I didn't say that. Hang on. Our next cryptid is the lost penguin. There we go. What do penguin look like? There we go. Someone who has recently started commenting. It's very fun, but also very difficult. Yeah, that's the part I'm scared about, the difficulty. What ethnicity or ethnic group does your people in Immortal occupy? Does it take place IRL in the past or in its own world? You will hear all about that later on, because I am currently working on that. It is its own world, so the world of Immortal is not like Earth, so I'll be trying to make how should I put it? Ethnicities that are analogous. Please tell me I pronounced that right. Anyway, are analogous to real world cultures, but are not directly intended to imitate them. I feel like I explained that extremely poorly. I will talk about it in a full video that I'm working on. It is pretty slow going, but it's gonna happen. They can be blue like Avatar? No. I don't want to get sued by Avatar. Oh, cool. A species of penguins that could slide on ice as fast as a cheetah when I was doing it. Very cool. Yeah. Where was I? I'm sure there was something we were supposed to be doing. Right. Snakes. Mythical animals. Dragons, of course, get their own page. 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages. Oh, these are so cool. A 6-mouthed serpent, Persian, okay. Or a many-mouthed animal. Animal with a head of bone, Irish myth. Oh, See, that's what I mean. It's really good inspiration. Isn't that all sick? Doesn't that all sound amazing? A concept I had a while ago, which isn't super interesting visually, so I didn't really know if I was going to touch on it. It's literally just a deer, but with human eyes, which is pretty difficult to pull off because deers already have very, like, you know, doe eyes. So they're already, like, very big and beautiful and meant to look as adorable as possible. That's not why, but the idea is that they are actually like these cold blue, like ice blue human eyes on a deer, which is much more unsettling. And that's where you can get into the idea of like therianthropes and like animals with the souls of humans, or humans that can turn into animals, or and that kind of stuff goes back as far as we can possibly go. The relationship between like humans and animals, especially when it comes to like animist religions, are for sure one of the absolute most ancient beliefs that we can look into. It's very, very cool. The idea, yeah. I am not... I can't just be accused of being a furry every time I bring up animals. You can't do this to me. I'll just never talk about animals in my in my Paleolithic world where they hunt animals. Anyway, that's not even remotely close to what a deer's horns look like, but I'm being accused of terrible things. Well, nah, it's not too bad. There are worse things to be accused of, for sure. Like a dang... No, I can't make the joke. I can't make the joke. Not a bad joke. I was just gonna say clanker, and then I can't really say that because I talked about how I was gonna stop making the joke like 2 weeks ago. It's unfortunate. Everybody just eat berries. Everyone is a vegetarian. Pretty elks. That's the thing. Even the real life creatures in the Paleolithic were essentially sick. Like you have the Megaloceros, right? Which was the Irish elk. Massive, massive, massive deer. So cool. And the whole point, and they've got these gorgeous, well, these stags had these gorgeous, massive, massive antlers. Cannot understand how these things were alive. So you could go one step above that, where it's like you do get like the king of deer, where it's you have the tiny deer that are like the size of, they go up to like your waist, and then you have, you know, the red deer, which go up to like almost your shoulder. Then you have the Megaloceros, which I believe are taller than humans. I say believe because it's been a little while since I've looked up a size comparison, but I know they're huge. I drew them with a size comparison. I know they're huge. Yeah, they're massive. Wait, hang on. Let me do a quick. So this is like an average person, right? Megaloceros was this tall. And that's not even including the horns. So sick. So the extension of that would be the king of Megaloceros, like this massive, massive elk or deer or something that, you know, it's the species that basically disappeared off the face of the earth, or were never there to begin with, or they or there's like only one that was ever made, and that's the king of deer. And they're just huge, 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 huge. And it's just got these, I don't know, black eyes. Like ebony. And their horns are as long as their body. And their body is as long as 2 men lying prone. We might just say clank. Yeah. And to be fair, the way we were using it, I think, is fairly harmless. It's just that other people ruined it, okay? At least I don't evade taxes. Crap, that reminds me. I have until the end of October to pay my taxes. It's fine, I'll get there. Yeah, apparently the creator of Apothecary Diaries was evading their taxes, but it was apparently because they were working so hard that they forgot to do them. Which, to be fair, is what I would also tell people if I forgot to pay my taxes or wasn't doing it on purpose and got caught. But I think that's very noble. They were working so hard, they forgot to do their tax. I believe that. I can see myself doing that in like a year or two by accident. And that's not me covering my base for the future, I swear. I was gonna say they have a crown, but the concept of crowns wouldn't be around here, so a little bit wrong. Was it the manga artist and not the author of the light novel? I think it was the manga artist. I'm not sure though. Oh, the thing that would make Human Idea actually spooky is if they were front facing. Ooh, yeah. Oh, are there any South African cryptids you can tell us about? Yes. Okay. Let me tell you the story of Click Click Slide. Because that is the only one that I know the actual story for. And I know it because a friend told me about it a while ago. Because they grew up with the story as like a campfire story. So the story of Click Click Slide, which is a bit of a dumb name, but it's fine. It's not very South African. It's kind of generic. You could pretty much put it in every place in the world and it'll still kind of apply. But the idea is that there was a... Hang on, let me remember this. I'll remember this. I wonder if there's stuff I can find. I remember the outline of the story, but not the details. Hang on. Oh, is it not South African? Huh. Hang on. Huh. It's not South African, never mind then. I don't have to tell you anything. Yeah, whoops. Yeah. Let's see. Can you make Golshi a cryptid and immortal? For sure I can. Maybe I can do a little bit of a nod to it. Probably not a direct cryptid. Well, actually, you know what? This isn't going to be in the comic anyway. Let's just do it. The only horse that eats meat. Golshi. And it faces forward. Ooh, what is that face? What have I done? I believe... weren't European horses quite small? To start off with? Or am I misremembering a different species? Click, click, slide. Oh, bye, Gamma. Okay, fine. Oh, I was just gonna do the humanoid animal again, but then this time with Golshi. Okay, hang on. She can run as fast as the wind. And you'll never be able to outrun her. She'll always catch you. And then she will give you a flying kick. And then she will eat you. Bones and all. That sounds like a pretty normal cryptid. I don't think horses came from North America. I know specific species of horses, I think, came from North America, but I know we had horses before we developed the technology to get to North America. Unless you're talking about, like, migration across the land bridges. That's BoJack Horseman, exactly. Okay. There we go. You found her by the lakes. Well, no, by the ocean. I don't want to think about a washed up Golshi after last stream. Huh. Okay. Central Eurasian steppe. Ah, I see. So it's a Selkie? Nah. This is permanent. The head does not come off. Horses were domesticated there, but the species dates much earlier and is from North America. Ah, is that what you're saying? So it was migration across the land bridge, unless there was drift across the continents and then... I'm just gonna Google horse evolution. Yurupa. I love Hyracotherium. It looks like a Greek creature. Let's see. Yeah, we don't have to worry about that kind of evolution, though. Thankfully, the story is recent enough where I don't have to look at that much evolution. So we could have had some interesting Spec Evo stuff, but I am... That's a lot of work. Oh, Leos? Yeah. Leos is pretty amazing. Ah, yeah. Which cryptid would make for the best chicken nuggies? Oh boy, do I have a cryptid for you. It's the chicken nuggie. Hang on. But be careful, they'll bite back. uh, what's strange is that North America and Asia seem to have been more often connected by a land bridge than not connected in prehistory. I guess. My memory's a bit foggy on that one. Marseille is my favorite girl failure. And that is all I shall say on the subject. I do not pick favorites. It was equids as a whole that evolved in America, but it was a common ancestor of horses, donkeys, and zebras. It was Asia where they diverged from one another. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I would have said that no matter what you said. I don't know enough to have my own opinion on the subject. Noise. The chicken nugget is the most feared cryptid. Absolutely. Oh, that's amazing. I did think, I mean, okay, well, I did immediately go on, like, Tumblr, after finishing the series. But yeah, I think Laos is some really good, autistic representation. It's really cool that it helped you. Would Tala's band see the others as cryptids? As in other people? Depends on their practices and depends on their beliefs and culture. Every episode was just, he likes to cook, literally me. He likes monsters, cameras, literally me. That's amazing. You are real life Leos. Okay. I keep forgetting what I was doing. Let's put them all up here for now. Especially Golshi. And let's try... Hang on. Let's do cannibalism next. In the idea of cryptids and seeing other humans as cryptids, it would be really fascinating if, depending on the practice, because for a while in Europe, the practice of cannibalism was very, very, very common. And it would be very interesting to see a bit of a culture clash there, where they would come across bands that, you know, are migrating in from somewhere else that happen to be to have cannibalism as a very present part of their culture. So whether it be something more respectful, as in that's how they honor their dead, or whether it be something more like that's how they, you know, take the strength of their enemy or consume the heart, you know, like that kind of concept. I think either could probably be perceived as quite horrific to a culture that does not even consider that as a possibility. Woo! Ritualistic or religious cannibalism, yeah, exactly. So it would be very cool, I think, to see, especially if, for example, they stopped perceiving, or at some point in history, they developed legends that no longer perceived that practice and the people who perform that practice as human. And again, that's kind of playing into some North American cryptids and creatures and legends that I will not be saying the name of because we've done this already. But again, there are some very interesting concepts with that. And I do think it's not universally, I mean, I think it's a more universal idea than just in North America. I do think it spreads across, let's try What should be something I know about? Yeah, because it's not super uncommon in European folklore to have acts of cannibalism, but it's always performed by the villains of the story. You get in folklore, you get I suppose an example would be the Viking ice giants would be the ones who partook in cannibalism, and then you would get, I think in ancient Greek they have a couple examples of that as well. Yeah. Or human-eating beasts, that's also a pretty common thing in specifically Greek folklore. What? There has to be more I can think of. Help me, Stiff. Stiff. Is it Under the Dead? I don't know. Oh, good. Greek myth does have some examples often associated with the House of Tantalus. Right, and wasn't there that legend about Lycon, who served one of his sons to Zeus in order to eat... Oh, and then of course Zeus. You get the story of his father Kronos, right? That was Kronos. I'm not thinking of something completely different. Yeah, because Kronos ate all of his children, and then of course you have the whole legend of how Zeus came into power. Yeah, no, so there are... Yeah, and then he became a werewolf. Yeah, sorry, that's the other part of the story. That's why his name's Lycon. Yeah, and Zeus ate Athena's mom while she was a fly. That's very cool. Yeah, no, I realize I have opened a box of worms here with referring to Greek mythology. And then Athena came out of Zeus and said, yeah. Well, that's it. It's very interesting, because then there are accounts of cannibalism, but it's depending on the perspective of the culture that talks about it. So whereas you can see a very clear, like, extreme taboo when it comes to North American folklore, you can see that it's treated pretty differently in Europe. And I know I'm changing my tune like on the fly here, but that is pretty fascinating. And then I'm sure if you go through Asia, there's also, I think, Japanese, like, monsters specifically and yokai are the ones who are typically eating people. And then that could also be seen as this dehumanization of cannibalism, or people who partake in cannibalism. But that's me speculating. I cannot say for sure. I do not know nearly enough about the culture or the legends to be able to say so. North American cryptids. A box of worms, yeah, I know. Such witty wordplay. Let's see, okay. So, in the interest of cannibalism, let's try and make something that isn't exactly ripped from North American folklore. Let's try and make something a little bit more unique than that. Unique as in not a direct ripoff, not unique as in, the original, so boring. No good came from eating your grains, cannibals for life. Okay, well, let's make them quite... Oh, that's interesting. My immediate thought is to make them look quite ogreish, right? Just because of the amount of calories in the human body, the amount of weight one would gain from that kind of diet. But then that just kind of looks like your classic ogre, doesn't it? I wonder if that was intentional. People associate the meat sweats with cannibalism. I'm sure that's not the case. What if my dead enemy tastes good? Aren't there some New Guinean cultures that practice ritualistic cannibalism? I would 100% believe it, yeah. It's something that occurs all over the world. A molish face. Molish. 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 Sorry. But then that's also a little bit of an issue. It's equating body weight and beauty to well, ugliness to villainy. But at the same time, if you're talking about like any culture before the modern day culture where we actually care about stuff like that, they probably wouldn't have cared about stuff like that. That's again another thing that I've been going back and forth on conceptually. Oh, I like the idea of cannibalistic creatures being gaunt and sickly if they're only eating humans and nothing else due to nutrition deficiency. That's a good point. These ones are clearly eaten well. But at the same time, then I'm worried it's going to look like something that already exists. Actually, maybe we can pull from the bear skeleton idea. So they would find bear skeletons and make the mistake of thinking that they were people or giants. And then somehow or another that concept got wrapped up into the idea of cannibalism. And so the concept of the cannibal became a inhuman creature based on what they found of the skeletons of different bears. Maybe the cave bear. Why not? So they would have been quite big. With very different anatomy than humans. So it wouldn't just be, oh, they were, you know, to be ugly is to be evil. It was also just that they were a different creature. Again, we are kind of leaning a little bit into ogre territory here, but I don't know. Unless I think of something different, I can't really come up with a better idea. Does Talos culture believe in a life force that can be consumed by eating the flesh of a person? That's a great question. So far all I have in terms of life force is the idea that when they die for whatever reason, their essence or non-physical or spirit, I guess you would call it, becomes part of like the light of the stars, kind of goes up to join the constellations, because that's the domain of their hunter god. But I haven't so far as thought into the concept of them then, of that evolving into the idea of having a soul. Although if we look at the existence of the face stealer, then that would imply that they do believe there is something that can be stolen from them. But they could differentiate between identity and the concept of a soul. You see how I overthink with these sort of things. To be different is to be evil. That's the problem. That's a lot of stuff from back in the day kind of leaned into that idea, and that's kind of not what I want to do. But at the same time, I want to be historically realistic, but I also really don't want to, and if I don't want to, then I shouldn't have to. You see, I think myself into circles far too commonly. Too often. I'm done. I'm gonna be honest with you, most monsters IRL are more or less a variation of other regional monsters and past creatures, so I wouldn't be too worried. Thank you, I will continue to be too worried. Oh, there we go, okay. Nah, don't beat yourself up for trying to be, well, for not trying to be original. There's so many things in the world, the people who constantly try to be original often don't come up with stuff that they can use. If you can give something that's old a new twist, or even be able to just use something that already exists and do it justice, I think that's pretty much all you can ask for. Yeah, bare bones wrapped in human skin. God, that's such a cool way to describe it. And of course, maybe they found like hair or patches of decaying fur still clinging to some of the bones. A little bit of old meat. Terrible to describe that, but yeah. Hmm. No feet or lower body, let's go. Hang on, give me some time, give me some time. Because bare legs were pretty... They were the same length as the arms, whereas that's not quite the way people look. Is chimpanzee meat an exotic animal meat, or is it venturing into the realm of cannibalism? I don't know. Where do we draw the line? I mean, if your definition is a matter of intelligence, we should probably all stop eating pork. But if it's a matter of how close the likeness is, then yeah, I guess it wouldn't. You couldn't eat any primates. Yeah, I'm so glad you called that straight off the bat. Actually, thank you, Wafia. Yeah, we're doing cannibals, or some kind of ogre-like dehumanization of cannibals. Chimp meat is way too iffy for me. It honestly, me too. I've eaten crocodile before, but I don't think I could ever eat chimpanzee or yeah, baboon. Nothing like that. Hominin versus hominid. A real no. Let's not be mean about any existing groups, okay? Whoa, that's so sick. Snakes seem scary to eat. I don't like snakes at all. I don't think I could ever actually eat one. Hmm. Okay, let's see what else we can think up. Oh, right, thunderstorm. That was the one that was suggested in the beginning. Hi, Ariska. Nice. I'm glad I pronounced your name right. I did read it as Mafia initially, so that's probably what helped. But Hobie, no, Hobie doesn't count. I don't like snakes that have the potential to be poisonous. I have said this before, I will stick to it. I am scared of snakes purely because they hold the capacity to be deadly until they are identified. Whoa, that's so sick. I'm gonna read it after this. Thank you, Texamatia. Hobie was. I'm not listening to that. My ecologically conscious cousin once killed an invasive iguana. He cooked it up and ate it because he didn't want to waste it. Apparently, it tasted terrible. I didn't Didn't bald billionaire man also eat an iguana? Bezos, didn't Bezos eat an iguana? I remember seeing that somewhere. Ooh, here's an idea. Is the thing that causes thunder a animal, a human, or a combination of both? Or is it just a manifestation of a element? As in the clouds themselves? Answer in the comments. Oh, snakes are poisonous? Did I say poisonous? I'm sorry, I meant venomous. My mistake. I grew up in an area where there were a lot of snakes that were venomous. There were puff adders and night adders specifically, and I almost like stepped directly on one as a teen. So it kind of like shook me irrevocably for a while. It's like, oh god, my life flashed before my eyes. Ooh. Make it a whale because they're loud underwater. I don't know. I don't know if our guys would have seen whales up close enough, or seen one washed up on the beach. Or maybe if they had seen one washed up on the beach, but then wouldn't they be associated with the ocean rather than the sky? Unless it washed up in a storm. Maybe. I shall consider your option. Oh. I am not dead. I did not get bitten by a snake and die years ago. Jerry can never replace me. Ooh, the thunder is an angry mammoth who hasn't forgiven humans after a hunt and rampages the world occasionally. That's so cool. It would make a little more sense for it to be from an earthquake. But maybe. Well, 4 earthquakes. Plural. I am dead. It is unfortunate. I'm sorry you had to learn. I'm sorry you had to learn it this way. Ah, boo. Ah. And bam. There you go. Okay. It explains the white hair. Yeah, decaying corpse. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. Rattlesnakes are nice, but they're the only ones that come with a built-in warning system. Well, I guess some hits. Spiders weave the night sky. That's pretty. I like that. Lightning strikes are the spears thrown by dead hunters. Every time a hunter dies somewhere, lightning strikes the ground. Ooh, that's cool, but also would imply a lot of death a lot of the time. Especially during a storm. Spirits of the ancestors giving lightning to the humans, i.e. a potential source of fire. Right, because lightning would be, in a way, almost like a boon. Ooh, hang on, okay. Let's go for... I'm leaning a little bit more animal, but I'm not entirely sure. Huh. The hunter god throwing his javelins. Good idea. I don't know. Again, it's like I'm kind of trying to stay away from the hunter and wild gods because I have the temptation to make everything about them, simply because they are the duo that make up the whole religion. But at the same time, again, because their world is as uncertain and unknown and has to be experienced through, you know, myths and word of mouth and stories and legends and in some places conspiracies, it makes less sense for their entire world to be made up of just the two deities. It has to have more variation than that, and that's where we get the myths and the creatures and the legends. Like a thunderboar, that's what I was thinking as well. We've already done the bear. Okay, we've done the bear with the cannibal. So let's try instead the lightning motif for hunters. That's very cool. Why do I keep doing that? Okay. But then is that not very similar to the concept of Zeus? And is that a bad thing if it is? Ooh, it could be the idea that those who are deceased are coming down to Earth to enjoy the occasional hunt still, even in their death. I suppose hunting would be seen as a relatively exciting thing, if nothing else. I'm not sure if it's... That's the thing, because then that would make their culture one that glorifies the idea of hunting and murder and killing. But that is kind of pretty much in line with what I've already got, because that is something that does exist in a lot of hunter-gatherer cultures, because a lot of the time hunting something and taking the life of an animal is seen as a rite of passage. So it would make sense that that's something that would be done after death as something you can enjoy risk-free because you're dead. Okay, I'm seeing the vision. I'm seeing the vision. Took me a while to get there. The Wild Hunt, yeah. God, I love the Wild Hunt. That's also an OSP video. Highly, highly, highly recommend you watch it. It is so informative about the way that like legends can spread and change, and you don't really know where they came from, but like it's beautiful to see the way that they've become. Oh, and it makes sense because their hair is a lot like clouds. Oh, that's cute. Okay. This is not even close to anatomically correct, but we're not going to think about that right now. Okay. I guess we are thinking about that right now. I'm fixing it. Talabot has escaped Discord. Uh-oh. Is there a problem? Oh, escaping containment, yeah. I love that. That's amazing. God, that's one of my favorite things. I love that we got both this and changing world politics on the same day. I feel like that's very fortuitous. Okay. I'm getting distracted. Oh, I love that. Escaping containment. When don't we have changing world politics in this year? You're not wrong, hey? I thought it would be really funny if that one occurred right as like something big happened, but then I thought about it a little bit more and I'm a little worried about what might happen. Okay. I'm enjoying that idea. I think that's very fun. So you've got the lightning, and then what would the thunder be? Their war cries? Nah, that it's a little loud to be the war. I guess the war cry would be what they're hunting. The thunder would be what they're hunting. So it would be more like... Hmm. Okay. Yeah. It can be either like the stomp of their feet in the air or in the sky or through the mountains or wherever they think it's happening. Or it can be like their cries, like their death throes. And then that means every time it storms, somewhere out there, the hunters are doing a really good job. And that's cool. And then that kind of also ties into the concept of an afterlife and being able to do things in your afterlife instead of just looking down from above, as is what tends to be the default. Because it makes them feel a lot more present as well, which means we can play again with the idea of ancestors and being watched and having them be a very present thing in your life, as opposed to then being something that's sort of just there. Because if you know anything about what I've said about Immortal, death is going to be a pretty important theme. So it's nice to know what happens when they are when they are no longer around. Good night, Gaha. Thank you for watching. Whoa, okay. Death throws is cooler, nice. Oh, how animators draw boy and girl animal jokes? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do dislike that way of doing things. It was kind of, the most egregious one I can think of is Alpha and Omega. That, like, animated show from, like, the 2000s. Or, like, 2010s. I forget when. I I was still in highs, like early high school. So I was just like growing out of... No, it was earlier than that. I think I was in proper primary school. Yeah, I don't know, it's time. How does time work? Never beating the... No! I watched it as a kid. You can't... It's just because the designs for the characters were so egregiously gendered. Alpha and Omega, my scientific brain just tweaked. Yeah, I know. You can't say that without two groups of people instantly having like gut like psychosomatic reactions. Some have dubbed it the worst movie ever made. Was it... Oh, I have to remember his name. Animated guy, cute VTuber who also talks with a little character guy. Spec. God forbid I Google the name. Remember the vegan wolves? I remember. I should rewatch the movie again. Just to remember exactly what it was about. Money laundering mentioned in chat. Not again. Not again. Oh, I just watched Happy Feet after like 15 years. They gave the girl penguins an hourglass waist and a bust. Of course they did. Yeah, the 2000. Oh, is Saber Spark? Yeah. uh, um, God, yeah. The more I look back at the 2000s, the more horrified I get, because it really was just. No, nothing's wrong with Saber Spark. It's just I remember he covered Alpha and Omega, and then like all of the sequel movies, and they just got worse and worse and worse and worse as you went. Hmm. Let's not tell people we're professionals in money laundering, okay? I feel like that's not a. Oh, in the topic of I see you're a scholar, but you would never actually do it. I know my chat. I know my viewers. They are not criminals. Okay. Let's see. Whoop. Nothing broke. It's fine. I've been playing with the idea of ghosts as well, but I feel like that's a little bit of a. It's again, it's a very, very common idea, but if we're also going with the concept of ancestors existing and living, like these would technically be the ghosts, right? And they would be quite benevolent, so it wouldn't be right to then include the concept of like traditional, like evil ghosts. Well, I say traditional, the modern concept of revenge fueled ghosts. I have a friend insisting that we watch Alpha and Omega. Do I give in? I'm sure you will have a lot of fun, but don't expect it to be a good movie. Alrighty. Used to watch Saber Spark. I can't anymore. I just find them obnoxious now for some reason. I mean, I don't watch them as much anymore, but I guess I wouldn't say obnoxious. I don't know. I don't want to be mean. I definitely watched a lot more of him when I was younger. Oh well. A trickster ghost would be neat as a cryptid. Maybe. Maybe, like, a trickster's fun. We've got our little lightning bugs. So those are like the little tricksters. But then maybe something that's a little bit more, like, mischievous. Or, like, more malevolent in their mischief. Fair enough. Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to call you out for that. It is... You like the YouTubers you like, and if sometimes you find that over time you drift away from them, I think that should be valid. That's not anyone's fault. That's not anyone's anything. It's just what happens. Being the alpha is hard because you fight against the world. Not being the alpha is hard because you fight against the alpha. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, yeah. The co-opting of alpha, beta language in, like, manosphere spaces specifically. I can handle it in, like, Omegaverse stuff. I can handle it in science. I can handle it in most places. I just can't handle it in manosphere language. It's just so... not my cup of tea. Whoa. Welcome back, TC. You've missed many things. So many things. All of the lore. I told everyone. Everything. And you missed it. Okay, we're still on the ghost section. Let me go past this now. Thank you, Thompson. I appreciate how in-depth we are. Huh. Blood as a life token. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, if you bleed out, you die. Blood's important. You gotta keep it in the body. Whoa, that spreads pretty far as well. The idea of blood as a life token. What does that mean exactly, though? Life token specifically. Yeah, India, Africa, Icelandic, French. 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 Finnish, Russian. God, it's everywhere. Again, makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense for blood to be so considered so vital to life. Obviously, because it is. Hmm. Okay, hang on. Let me look at the definition of a life token here before I do anything else. Just to make sure I'm not mixing it up with anything else. Oof. Okay, well, this is not helpful at all. Yeah, something that you do or a thing that you give someone is like the definition of token. So a blood token is something that you give someone, right? Like a form of payment. But I don't know if that's exactly what the definition meant for Thompson's description of it. France. Yeah, no, I was trying to read French and then I said, no, I should say France because I'm listing countries, and then I just said France. Let me give you a token made out of my heart and blood. I love Bloodman Wonderland. Weergeld. Geld. Weergeld. No, I'm not pronouncing that correct. I know that. Oh, a defined value placed on every man graded according to rank. Is that what is that what you were talking about? Oh, thank you. I am from South Africa, hence the accent. Yeah. The accent is what we call Martian. Thanks, yeah. The mythical land of South Africa. I guess blood money? But I don't know if that's exactly what they meant. Okay, hang on. Oh god, I'll never find the page again. Oh god, I'm not going to find the page. I went all the way down to the glossary thinking I'd find a definition. Where is the... oh god. Okay. The dead is ghosts, and then it was after ghosts that I found blood as token. The dead rider... oh. Ghost rider. Okay, ghost returns, return from dead, ghost man, vampire, vampire, ghosts, flying head, meeting ghosts, ghost frighten, ghost haunts, ghost scares, dead husband's friendly return. Ghost rides on horseback, ghost of person killed in accident, seen at death or burial spot. That's very common, isn't it? That's every ghost story I know. Oh, jeez. Okay. I'm never gonna find it again, am I? Oh, this is tragic. Ghost, 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 dead body, dead man, ghost, dead, ghost, dead, ghost, revenant, revenant, revenant. Head of beheaded, ghost laid in burial, dead awaken. Oh, it just doesn't end. Okay. Hey, the huntsman. Still dead. The wild hunt, the wild hunt, the wild hunt, the wild huntsman, the flying Dutchman, phantom boat, addressing the dead. These are really interesting. I need to find what I was at before. I should have looked at the page number. There's no point in it, is it? I'm never gonna find it. I think I may have just skipped past the page. and just not notice because it all just looks like ghosts. Soul in flowers, soul in pomegranate, soul in starling? And then, but then that would extend to the concept of having a soul, which we don't have for this particular culture. At least not in the way that it can be taken like that. Okay, wraiths are still ghosts. Soul, shadow, raven, angels. Okay, I'm not gonna find. Oh, life token! I was about to give up. Okay. So, life token, water turns to blood. Life token, horn fills with blood. It's hard to know without the context of what they mean by this and like what was done with the horn once it was filled with blood. Was it given to something or someone as a payment for something? It has to be, right? Tala has no soul confirmed. Yeah, I guess kinda. Are there blood-sucking creatures in the culture of Immortal? Not yet. Anyway. Life token, earth, water, or blood and footprint. Life token, blood of fish calls out. Life token, blood boils, blood stops boiling. Life token, blood changes color. Life token, comb drips blood. Life token, gloves drip blood. So it's a life token as in they're selling their blood for their lives, or is it a life token as in their life is the token and the blood represents something like that, like they've forsaken their token or they've sold their token or they aren't allowed to have it back? It's gonna be Jerry. Could be that blood is the essence of life itself. I think so, but then the language is confusing me. Life token, cloth becomes bloody. Life token, hero's horse stands in stable in blood up to his knees. Life token, milk becomes bloody. Life token, roof spouts of castle. Because milk becomes bloody makes it seem like something pure has become tainted. Like, or cursed or ruined. Actually, you could write a really good horror movie or horror book, just basing like this stuff off, because that's very cool sounding. Blood in the milk, hell yeah. Staff stuck in ground falls, life token. Okay, that's staff. Blood stops flowing from wound when captives escape. Who are the captives? Okay, this isn't as useful if there's no context for why anything is happening. I'm just gonna move on. That's unfortunate. It took me so long to find that page again. You could sell 20% of your life tokens for 5 cows. Is milk not just filtered blood? You're so right. You're absolutely correct. I don't know if they would have known that though. Let's see. Ooh, other worlds. I'm just gonna... There we go. It's just change the song real quick. Everything is filtered blood? Yeah. Jerry, you best hope God has mercy on your soul, for I will not. In what context is that? I don't have context for anything. It's... Milk is out of the question since everyone is lactose intolerant, but that's why there's blood in it. Because we don't know why. They can't drink it. Okay. Oh, here we are. Birds that carry people away. That sounds fun. I was thinking of doing something like birds. I was gonna do birds for the thunderstorm, but instead, let's do something like a eagle. Eagles are pretty generic, but they are very common in folklore. question is what species? Or it could be something like a rainbow. It's like, this is how we get rainbows. We're not gonna do the Thunderbird. That's already a thing that exists and is very popular. We can't do the Thunderbird. A peacock as rainbow, but they wouldn't have peacocks in their biome. That's very far away from home. Phoenixes are very cool, but they're very specific. I wonder if there's something we can do that's similar to that. Thunder pigeon, big goose. Well, that's the thing. Okay, so the hunter god's domain is the sky. I've said this before, I've said this a million times. So, theoretically, birds would then be associated with the hunter god, which means they would most likely be characterized as something benevolent. But that might not have always been the case. So what if certain eagles were associated with something like... Okay, no, I'm gonna say something spoilery if I follow that train of thought. Ooh, a carrion bird? Maybe. Bird psycho... That's exactly what I was thinking. Something like a bird psychopomp. But that felt a little bit too... Because again, that's a little bit more like... We've got the afterlife here, we've got the afterlife here. It's like... It's all circulating around the hunter god a bit too much for my liking, but maybe that's not a bad thing, but maybe maybe I'm overthinking it. I'm probably doing that. Ooh, you know what would be sick? If they open their wings. Yeah, are there any birds with, like, circle markings? What should be, like, the smallest robin you've ever seen? European. Hey! No. Not directly, I guess. I mean, owls have their eyes, which are pretty intense. Like, if you saw that in the dark, like shining off of firelight, that would be seen as like 2 rings. And it's the nighttime, which is when the stars are out, so maybe they could be seen as psychopomps. Does the hunter god practice falconry? Maybe. I don't know. We're playing with concepts now. Hey, hi, Meandry. Awesome to see you. Okay. Let's do an owl. Something like a eagle owl. The obvious one. Are eagle owls European? Hang on. Eurasia! Hooray! I do love an eagle owl. They look very majestic. And while owls themselves are stupid, they are very... Their intense gaze has helped to root them in quite a lot of folklore and fairy tales. Oh, that's a rough... Nope, that is not even slightly what they look like. Nice. Barn owls are intimidating, yeah. I do love a barn owl. When I was younger, our barn had a family of barn owls that would live in there for a certain time of the year and then migrate out. Ah, but they were so cool. It was so nice whenever they were there. We would go out with torches and see if we could find some sightings of them. Very cool. His eyes are so far apart. But then that kind of doesn't work with the specifically the idea of like the two rings. Because most of them look like they have like their eyes are quite half lidded. But I guess for the sake of like extrapolating visuals for a narrative, it doesn't quite matter that much. Like the owl house, exactly. You're so right, Meandry. That bug steam animation is very cool and very amazing. Oh, that's so nice. My dad had a pet barn owl when he was a kid, saved it from a tree that had fallen in a storm. It ran into a pole when learning to fly. Oh no! Oh, that's so sad. Oh. Yeah, barn owls. They're so pretty. I'm so sorry. To your dad about the barn owl. That is unfortunate. This is the dumbest looking owl I've ever seen in my life. Oh, this is it's fine. He's fine. Just don't think about him. Oh no. Don't tell me about your mom's pet chicken now as well. Oh. Yeah, I was trying to think of like how I can make it look more otherworldly. And the idea would be that like it's got a ring that actually glows around the eyes, and then that would be the symbol of the hunter god, and then that would tie it all into the concept of it being more of like maybe a psychopomp again because it's like a nighttime, it's a nocturnal animal. Because I do really like the idea of like a psychopomp of some kind. And actually that is something I can maybe reference later. Okay, the brain is braining. I think your owl might have run into a bullet. Aww. You don't like Owlethan? It's fine. He's just thinking real hard. You know? Okay, let's see. Ah, their eyes are very human. Thank you. That was the hope. It's like I'm leaning a little bit too much into like the eyes specifically as an indicator for otherworldliness, but it's kind of the only thing I can really think of, especially when it comes to just like your classic animals. Specifically, especially in descriptions. Because often, you know, folk tales and legends and like cryptids and stuff are often described rather than like given visuals for. Like nowadays, you get like a blurry photo, but you know, back in the day, before even written language was around, of course, all they would have is descriptions. And often that means what you're getting is stuff that maybe isn't the most visually interesting. So often it really was just like, I saw an animal, but the animal had something vaguely off with it. Like it looked too smart or it spoke to me. And that's not a good visual because it's just an animal. And then the action that the animal does is what is interesting or creepy or spooky about it. And it's not saying that that has to then be the case here, but it is an interesting sort of thing to deal with. For a while, a couple years ago, I tried to, like, I gave myself a little challenge just to practice my drawing and stuff, and like my, you know, coming up with ideas for like mythological creatures and stuff that hadn't been like super exposed to you know, media, modern pop culture yet. And it was pretty difficult because all of the interesting ones that have like been exposed to pop culture are the ones that look really visually interesting, and the ones that are left behind are maybe not that much not so interesting, or feel almost like replicas or copies. Like you get the chimera, right? And once you've seen the chimera, you've seen every sort of combination of mishmash of animals that you've seen. And so when you see a different creature that still looks like a chimera just with a different mashup of animals, that's not as, it's visually interesting, I guess, but like it's not conceptually interesting. And then again, in that same vein, you also get stuff that's just an animal or just a person with like gray skin, and it's like not as interesting. Ah, well, hyper realistic eyes. I wonder if you could pull in other art styles to make creatures look otherworldly. I wonder, because the summer Hikaru died, which just ended, by the way. It's fantastic. Please go see season 1 if you haven't already. And if you like horror, it does that as well, where it pulls from different art styles, different brush pens and stuff to create their horror. And it's so interesting to see. It happens so sparingly, which I wish it happened more, but it's so good when it does happen. When they do like go that extra mile. It's so sick. Depending on culture, owls are also intelligent and terrifying creatures of darkness and omens of death. I know, right? And then they're just in real life these derpy little guys. I shouldn't say derpy, I apologize. But yeah, no, just goofy. Mm. Oh, winged lions are greater than Pegasi. Fair enough. Good opinion to have. You are the chimera expert. Golden. Michigan has a cryptid that's a giant green squirrel. That's it. That's amazing. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. It's just a squirrel that's green, so it's not super interesting to draw, but it's still a cryptid that has like interesting lore around it. Mayhap, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Is it like the green giant's pet? Or is that not in Michigan? Have the spirits be too detailed compared to the regular characters. That'd be sick. That sounds like hell to do in a comic format, though, I will be honest. Are you afraid of offending the owls? No, no, it's... I'm just trying to monitor my language a little bit better. Just for my own sanity, I guess. Making things a different art style was going to be a tool I use for demons since they really are beyond the physical realm. That's so sick. I love when any kind of media does that. It's so cool. It's so sick and cool is what I was gonna say. Terrible Arbinger of Death is more accurate than Wise Sage. They are flying tigers and leopards. Yeah. Yeah? I may have missed some context for that. Oh, fair enough as well. Could also give us, the reader, a hint that someone might be a spirit, but the characters themselves can't see that. That's cool. That's interesting. It would also help to indicate that they may not be real as well, and that they might just be something that's, you know, they're seeing things, or that's what they think they see. And then that would be an easier way to differentiate reality from fiction for the reader in the universe. The funniest cryptid, in my opinion, is the face chest man. I know the face chest man. Oh my god, that's like a latent memory. Ah, where did I first see that? Ooh, the YouTuber Thought Potato makes good videos about the theoretical biology of monsters and cryptids. I'm gonna save that name and watch that later. That sounds cool. That's so fun. I love... This is such a... Oh, I've seen these! I've seen some of these. I've seen some of the thumbnails. They also did, yeah, zombie biology and then, like, vampire biology as well. Yeah! Oh, I always saw their thumbnails around, but I never actually watched their videos. I should do that. Oh, I'm not yawning. Ta-da! Oh. Heard what pronounced? Oh, okay. Sleep streamer, no, no. What's South Africa like? It's fun. It's nice. It's got decent infrastructure in the cities. Depending on where you live, it can be quite humid or quite dry. It's always going to be super hot in the summer. The winters are okay. They're never as cold as I want them to be. Let's see. Huh. Yeah, no, it's a cool place. It's like Africa, just southern. Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty funny. I know that it's like it's a country name, but it still feels like you're talking about a direction and not a country. What about Madagascar? I've never been there. It is pretty close. I know some people who have moved there. Well, I know one person who's moved there. It's a pretty interesting place for having such a boring name. Hey, I can say that. You can't say that. Yeah, Madagascar is a pretty cool movie. Let's see. Okay, let's see if we can get like one more in, and then I think we'll call it. Let's see. The other concept that I wanted to kind of look into was the idea of like smaller local like rulers or leaders or guides of a specific area. So for example, a lot of the environment you would have at this point in history is the Mammoth Steppe, which would have made excellent hunting ground. It would have been full of megafauna. And it was just this long, 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 flat expanse of land. And just grass, lots of, apparently it was quite ecologically diverse as far as like plant life went. Oh no, everyone's talking about Madagascar. Does the person know Alex the Lion? No. Once again asking for Globcat and or Hatsune Miku. Can I make this one Hatsune Miku? Okay. Hang on. So, because you get such a huge expanse, it makes sense that at some point you would see things in the distance, right? Because you're constantly scanning the area, whether it be for predators or for prey. You're constantly out in the middle of nothing. You are getting heat ripples off the, the landscape, as you tend to do when, for example, if it's in the summer, it's a peak hunting season. At least that's what I've written as peak hunting season. Let's see. So again, it makes sense you'd see stuff. So it could be that there's like, they think there's something like false people in the distance. Or false creatures in the distance. And I think it would be way more fun to not define what they are. They aren't animals, they aren't people, they're just things. And this could be a sort of similar thing to the Wild Hunt, where it's something you think you see. It's this like massive group of things out in the middle of nowhere. They're not spirits, because the spirits are up there. They're not anything good, you don't think. Because, of course, if it's unknown, it's frightening, and you can't... If you approach them, they disappear. Because that's how mirages work. Peak hunting seasons when you're looking for peak. Oh, okay. Why is everyone upset? Yeah. What is the Well, that's the thing. They could be people, they could be animals, they could be pretty much anything. It's just that you're seeing them and you don't know what they are. And the narrative doesn't know what they are. And the people around you don't know what they are. But they all have their speculations. And it's just not a fun time. And you should probably just watch out if you see them. The entities of the fog, the entities of the fog. We're debating if mammoths are extinct or not. I see. Fascinating. Yeah, the shadow in the side of your eye. Well, we're talking about Slenderman. Only I know what they are, and I don't really. They're just these little squeaky guys. It's just, because that's the thing, it's scarier to have things undefined, and it's more interesting to have things undefined, because then you get to speculate, and you get to wonder, and you get to think about it. And I think the stuff that leaves you thinking about it is way more fun than the stuff that gives you a clear answer. And that is definitely not a sign of things to come. People interested in the narrative of Immortal. But can the weird people on the edge of the horizon bust a move? You know what? Sure, why not? They wiggle. They wiggle with the heat rising. Oh, you know more than me? Prove it. Go on, prove it. In the comments right now. What are they? Tell me. Please. I need to know. It's okay. You don't have to. I understand. You're weak. I'm sorry. That felt terrible to say. They are silly little guys, yeah. The visions of people's fears. That's sick, yeah. Okay, fine. You win this round. This squirrel standing upright. What did you... I've made an enemy. Quick. The Distant Dancers is a good name. That's a pretty good name, yeah. Tala starts breakdancing. Okay. And then from that, if people ever happen to go missing here as well, because guaranteed at some point in history it's happened, you have the idea of people getting lost trying to find those mystery people, cryptid things out in the wilderness. And they're just left behind, and they can't go back to their home, to their people. And they're just lost, wandering. And I think that is pretty cool. It's okay, Talabot will protect you. Probably, honestly, it's a bit of a 50-50. It's the landscape branch. Yeah. And then if enough people go missing looking for them, they make their own band. And then they too go wandering and drag people along with them to the same fate. Because that's the thing, people have always gone missing throughout history. It's not like people still go missing now, like pretty much every day, and we still, like, even with all our technology and all our cameras and, you know, we still don't know where they go and what happens to them, and odds are it's probably not a very good thing. So it must have been far easier to get lost back then. What can I do for a ripple in the grass? There we go. That's it. I just needed to practice. I think that's pretty interesting. I actually think that's a pretty great one to end on. Yeah, it got really dark really quickly, but that's my favorite part of making cryptids and creatures. Again, it's a scary world that these people live in. It's the Paleolithic. They don't have any science to fall back on, really. They know that the sun rises and the sun sets and the moon rises and the moon sets, and they know that the trees grow and the animals migrate, and they know to follow them, and they know to eat the plants that don't kill you, and they know to eat the animals that don't kill you, and if you get bitten by something, you'll probably die. They don't know what infection is, they don't know what different types of illnesses they are. They probably know the symptoms, but not the causes. They probably have speculation on what the causes are, but they don't know so many things. And all that they really have is the stories and the advice that's been passed down to them. And then that's, again, just all they have to go on. And the rest of the world is pretty much up for speculation. And you can try and find relief and assurance in what you've been told is the way the world works. And that's pretty much what everyone has always done throughout history. But finding the truth at this point in time for pretty much anything is kind of impossible. You can just trust what you see with your own two eyes, and even then, not really. It's just, it's cool. It's a scary, scary world you live in the Paleolithic specifically. You're not even top of the food chain. Beware the chicky nuggy, yeah. The worst of them all, where is he? The ultimate. the villain. Oh. Yeah, I think too hard about a lot of things, but it's the stuff that interests me, and it's the stuff that's gotten me this far. That's so sick. I want to write a whole story about that, and I will. Olden folktale said when a woman gave birth to her 13th child, she cursed it and it was born a demon. Huh. Is this the New Jersey Devil? We have advanced mathematics, and clearly the sign is a massive ball of gold being rolled around by a dung beetle. Yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing, you just have that to go on, and even the science is now having to go up against what you've been told your whole life is the actual case. Which is why it took so long to break out of, like, the Dark Ages, even though we had people who had whole lives that were like, no, this is how it actually works, and they were persecuted against. We know this. It's difficult. Immortal Compendium. Ah, the Leeds Devil. Ah, yes, yes, yes. So the limit is 12. Here, if they have 6 daughters, the 7th becomes a werewolf. God, that's so cool. That's awesome. I've never heard that one before. If they are a man. Ah, I see. I'm pretty sure the Earth is riding on the back of 4 elephants riding on the back of one really big turtle. Me too. Don't let the flat earthers fool you. Oh, it also happens if you have 6 sons. If the next one is a daughter, she becomes a werewolf. Whoa. That's cool. I'm sure it's happened at least once. Having cultures, knowing stuff, but being unaware about others is really cool. Yeah. Knowing chemotherapy doesn't mean you can predict eclipses. Yeah. Oh, hi, Madeline. Oh, hi! By staring directly at the sun, we can see that it's a really disorientating and painful ball. Oh, that's sick. In Germany, they traumatize their kinders with ghost tales to help them behave. Yeah, I've heard that about Germany. Okay. 7th son of the 7th son, yeah. I love that sort of stuff. Ah, sick. Okay. I think we've done a pretty good job here. I'm pretty happy with what we've got so far. It really helps to sort of just, like, have a bit of fun and flesh this stuff out. I have been meaning to do this exact sort of, like, fleshing out of myths and legends and creatures and just fill up the world with a lot more variation of, like, just myths, unknowns, stuff that might have existed from previous religions or religions that they came into contact with, or stuff that they've just thought that they witnessed with their own eyes, and it comes from all sorts of different origins, but it all kind of comes together in this amalgamation of their worldview. And it's something that I've been meaning to do for so long, and the whole time my approach to it has been, it's such a fun thing to do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it off and do the stuff I don't like first, and then have fun with this when I need a break. And then I just kept thinking that for I guess it's been 3 years now. So I had an idea, but I never properly sat down and sketched stuff out and got proper, real, tangible ideas. I think my favorite one actually is the thunder hunt. I think that's amazing. It also is very reminiscent of the wild hunt, which I was not even thinking about when we made it. But that is pretty cool that it's kind of very similar thematically. But yeah, I think we can start winding down now, gang. If there's anything else you want to talk about, say it now. Or forever hold your peace. Will do, will do. Thank you, Tolman. But remember, Slenderman isn't just an internet cryptic, never supposed to be real. Oh, Ghost Riders in the Skies. That's also part of folk legend. It's got an old history, Ghost Riders. The most scary German story is Germany. That's... oh. Would you rather be immortal, cycle, or first hero? I'd say... immortal? Maybe cycle. Cycle is a very, very close second. Ah, you got a spirit idea? Ooh, I'm acquainted with the guy who made up Slenderman. That is very interesting. How do you... oof. That is minor celebrity there. I am an enthusiast of the American Gothic aesthetics. I like the shadow people because it can make you feel dread rather than fear or terror. Yeah, a lot of folktales, like, well, yeah, my favorite folktales are like that. The Wild Hunt kind of plays into that a little bit as well. Most like spooky, scary ghost stories throughout, like that are told through the lens of like folktales, are so cool, and they have that kind of like feeling to them. That's definitely one of my favorite too. The the shadow people. Does Talov's band have sports or games they play? You know what? I haven't really considered that. I mean, they would play in the way of like learning to hunt, so they would probably have, you know, spear throwing contests. They would probably have challenges of strength, challenges of speed, yeah, races, etc. But I don't know if they would have any specific sports. That'd be pretty fun to look into. uh, bye, Human Racing. Thank you so much for sticking around most of the... well, yeah, the whole stream. Bye... bye Twitch Human Racing. And bye YouTube Human Racing. Ooh, it's an elf girl who protects others from death and can heal the dead. Huh. That's pretty cool. We would then have to add elves into the world. Very tempting. Oh, Siren Head's sick. Not a cryptic, but I love Tiki Toby. Creepypasta is my jam. Yeah. The inevitable tournament arc. Oh, I think the idea of ancient megafauna gives way to modern, smaller yet similar species, but still being remembered by a culture that sees them as a spirit or some great mythical beast, not just extinct. That is very cool. I like that. I like that idea a hell of a lot. Yeah, and it's something that gets passed down. It's we actually have something like that for the Megalosaurus, the Irish elk, where you have some I think very, very old folk tales, I think from Ireland or maybe mainland Europe, where that focuses on like a massive, like the concept of a massive elk or a massive deer, like a beast's huge, and it's like, I don't know if it's confirmed, but there is speculation that it's based on the concept of the Megalosaurus. Because that's a really cool idea, and it's stuff that carries through. It's so good. I love folklore. Ooh, are every civs in your world building in the same technology level, or are there any settled civs that reached Bronze Age? This is very far in the past, so at the moment all of them are set in the Paleolithic or even less technologically developed. However, as the story progresses, different cultures will reach different technology levels at a different pace, in a very similar way to how real life played out, where some will remain at their Paleolithic level, some will reach the Chalcolithic, some will go straight on into, you know, the Renaissance. I'm mixing up all of my my periods, but yeah, no, it's gonna be very much in the spirit of the way modern, like our history has played out. But then I'll give it my own little spin. Certain Native American folklore remembers the giant beaver. That is so cool. I love that so much. Again, it's just, it's so cool. Yeah, Irish mythology. Yeah, a skull or something. Again, that's also the Irish elk. People were constantly finding the skulls of Irish elk, complete with horns, and you can find them nowadays. They've been like hung up in like old castles, or I think I remember seeing a Google image of one being hung up in, I think it was a hotel. But it's yeah, they were status symbols to have these ancient skulls of these massive deer with these huge horns, that were, you know, they were preserved and they were young enough that they wouldn't crumble on contact, and people just hung them up in their homes. Have you ever heard of the Lion Man figure? Maybe from mammoth ivory found in a cave in Germany. Yeah, I have. It's really interesting to see because it's an example of therianthropes, I believe, which is the concept of people turning into animals or being half transformed into animals. And that's very common throughout cultures. You see examples of that here, actually, with Khoisan, or no, San cave paintings have examples of their shamans being turned into animals, and they are examples of therianthropes. And then you see the exact same thing in Europe. There are caves in France that have that same type of imagery, not specifically the same animal that they're being turned into, but just the concept of being turned into an animal. It's very cool. It's very fun. Furries have existed for longer than you know. uh, Oh, can you show us your world map and explain the world building through it? I can, pretty much. Not right now. Maybe later, especially once I've established more about the history of it. Maybe after the next main video. Isn't there the tradition about the person who goes around in an elk skull and cloak who asks for food as some kind of prank? That sounds believable, but I'm not entirely sure. I also think Thunderbirds may be the mythical memory of Teratons. That would be fun. Is there any funny lore cryptids? Similar to how in Norse mythology it said Loki woohooed a horse. Huh. Yes, somewhat. Maybe. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. Oh, the Green Giant in the UK. Yes, I do know of them. They're from Arthurian myth, aren't they? Or they were a very old legend that then got incorporated into Arthurian myth, I think. Ah, it's a Welsh Halloween thing with the elk and the cloak. That's so cool. Oh, how's the world building project going? Pretty good, pretty good. Not bad at all. Slow going with the actual production, but the world building's pretty strong. Maybe, kind of. I don't know. I'm a little too. I play a little too fast and loose with the concept of being done. um, Very, very, very legend. Nice. What makes a spirit in Talos world? Excellent question. They don't really have the concept of human souls or human spirits that can be left on the earth. They believe that when they pass, they ascend to the stars, which is the domain of their main god, the hunter god. So they don't, in essence, have the concept of souls. So the concept of spirits is more like the idea of monsters and creatures and cryptids and things that are believed to be a real part of the world, but are classified as spirits and monsters and myths by the meta, which is, so by you and me, simply because we know that they do not exist. They are folk tales and legends and stories. I wouldn't really call them just spirits. Specifically, some spirits. So, so we've got here. This is a single spirit. It doesn't quite have a name, but it has a legend associated with it. This as well. It's got a story, but it's got a name, and it's more of a species of creature that they believe that they can find. Yeah, I've been playing I went pretty fast and loose with the term spirits. I know the title of the stream, but yeah. You can't rush off that guy from Toy Story. Thanks. That's very comforting. So spirit in the Fey Oni Jin sense. Yeah, I'd say so. That seems very accurate, yes. What We Do in the Shadows is it is. I've only ever seen season 1. I need to watch the rest of them because I really, really enjoyed it. I just gotta find people to watch it with. It's no fun watching it on your own. Cornwall isn't real and neither are giants. Oh, all my family who came from Wales and Ireland really held onto their traditions and tried to pass it all down for a while. That's amazing. I love that. Having a strong sense of your roots is a pretty cool thing. It's not something I can strictly relate to, but it is very, very cool. Let's see. Okay. Everybody, I think this is a very good place to stop off. So, yeah. Thank you all very, very much for watching, for hanging out, for making conversation. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed all the speculating and brainstorming. There was quite a bit of active world building in this one as well, which I thought was pretty fun. It's a little scary making stuff up on the spot with an audience, but it was very, very, very cool. Yeah, thank you all again. I will see you guys next week, and I'll try not to be late with the poll this time. Fingers crossed. Yeah, bye chat. Oh, if we take just a bit longer, it'll be tomorrow and I can say happy tomorrow. No, no, no. Come now. That's a whole minute. Okay, okay, okay. Aw, thank you all. Thank you very, very, very much. You will be. Late, that is. Oh, lovely. Okay, okay. We're watching the clock. It's ticking down. 1 whole minute. Why am I? It's okay, it's okay. We can play each other out. And it's tomorrow. Thank you all very, very much again. And see you next week. Bye-bye.